What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Actually Good Coffee podcast, the show where we talk about all things coffee related, including plastics and how they're in your brain. Kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding, but we'll talk about that more in a second. Today, we're going to be going over a Bloomberg article that goes over the current round of negotiations held in Switzerland about what the world should do about this pesky plastic problem. Now, most recently, The Lancet has posted a paper on how microplastics are a growing problem that seem to be the source of more and more health-related issues. They even play an economic role, contributing to the losses that exceed 1.5 trillion annually. That might seem like an unfathomable amount, but when you look at the U.S. debt, you realize that number is actually quite small. I'm kidding! But in all seriousness, it's been interesting to see how plastic pollution is one of the few topics that a significant majority of people can agree on. Whether it be for environmental or personal health reasons, almost everyone can agree that there needs to be an alternative solution to this menacing issue. But the question is, can we come up with a solution that doesn't effectively halt all major supply chains? Since 2023, diplomats have been gathering to come up with an international treaty to best handle plastic pollution. The problem from the most recent meeting in Busan, South Korea, has continued over into the one currently in progress in Geneva, Switzerland. And that is whether the solution is to come up with a better recycling system overall, or in the words of Jessica Roth, to have a legally binding treaty with production reduction at its core. Inger Anderson even went so far as to make the bold, and might I add, very brave claim that no one wants to live with plastic pollution. This fundamental rift between countries continues to persist and may cause further delays in coming up with a unanimous solution. Now, if I was a betting man, which I am no longer, I would guess that the countries producing the largest amounts of plastics are the ones pushing for improving plastic waste collection and boosting recycling rather than reducing the production altogether. Coming in at number 1 is China at 222.1k kilotons. 2 is the US at 92.7k kilotons. And number 3 is the Middle East, North Africa, and Turkey at 83.1k kilotons. How much is a kiloton? Why don't we find this out really quick, actually? Are they saying 222.1 thousand kilotons? Oh, so it's a measurement that's used to find the strength of atomic bombs. I don't know why they make it so confusing to understand these measurements, but let's just agree that it's a substantial amount. This article goes on to say, of the 16,000 plus chemicals in plastics, more than 1/4 are known to be hazardous to human health. While the majority have never been tested for toxicity, according to a recent paper in Nature, these chemicals appear to be found in every major plastic type. Some have been linked to reproductive conditions, lower IQ in children, and cancer and stroke risk in adults, with the highest risks seen when exposure occurs in utero, in infancy, or in early childhood. And these are just the early stages of understanding the effects microplastics have on the human body. Scientists have discovered micro and nanoplastics in human organs, blood, and semen. Most recently, a paper published just last week finds that adult humans inhale 68,000 lung-penetrating microplastic fragments a day, 100 times more than previous estimates. A study done by the New England Journal of Medicine found that patients with the particles in the walls of their blood vessels have a higher risk of heart attack, stroke, or death roughly 3 years later. The 6th round of talks are set to go on for 10 days and have started on Tuesday, August 5th. Now, I encourage you all to research this topic a bit further if you are interested in learning more, and I'll leave a link to this article in the description. But if you are worried about your microplastic consumption or just your overall contribution to this growing issue, then boy, do I have a shameless plug for you. Now, I am just as tired as all of you might be at hearing the word microplastics. So at Maiden Coffee Roasters, we recently switched over our packaging from traditional coffee packaging to 10-ounce tin cans for all of our single origin offerings. Now, this change does come at a higher cost, but I find this change to be crucial in mitigating some of the negative impacts that even compostable packaging has on your health and environment. According to the Compost Manufacturing Alliance and BioCycle, less than 10% of compostable packaging in the U.S. actually reaches a facility capable of processing it. Most require industrial composting conditions, meaning high heat and oxygen, and if they end up in a landfill, which most do, they don't break down properly. Many also still contain hidden plastic linings, or PLA bioplastics, that leave behind microplastics and contaminate compost or recycling streams. Tin cans have a recycling rate up to 95% in closed-loop systems in Europe, and an average of 71% in the US, according to the Steel Recycling Institute and EPA. Traditional plastics, plastics used in most retail food packaging have a recycling rate of only 8.7% in the U.S. And to mitigate some of the costs, we are launching a refill program with our wholesale partner Sun & Waves, located in Spring Lake, New Jersey. If you bring your tin back, you'll receive a significant discount on your coffee purchase. Of course, through larger purchasing quantities of these tins, our goal is to eventually bring down the upfront cost for all of you. So thank you all for listening to today's episode, and be sure to go to maidencoffee.com to get one of our single origin offerings, now exclusively served in tin can packaging. Feel free to reach out to us on the Maiden Coffee Instagram if you have any questions or insights. I always enjoy talking about these things and having discussions with all of you. I like to hear your opinions because that's the only way that we can get better. So thanks again, and I will talk to you all again very soon.